The battlefield was quiet, but the silence was heavy with danger. Alien ships had crashed, and fires burned across the dark. Rocky land, smoke rose in thick clouds, hiding shadows that could move at any moment. The human soldier, Kale, stepped carefully over debris, his boots crunching on broken metal and scorched earth. Every step made him tense, his hand on the hilt of his energy blade, ready for anything. He scanned the horizon with sharp eyes, looking for movement. Most of the alien warriors had fled or been destroyed, but something unusual caught his attention. A figure lay on the ground ahead, barely moving. Her armor was cracked and smoking, and blood leaked from multiple wounds. She was an alien fighter. And even through the pain, she radiated strength, determination, and pride. Kale slowed his pace. Unsure if she was friend or foe, her eyes opened slightly, and she glared at him, filled with anger, not fear, but pure defiance. Kale could feel the danger, but he also felt something else, a need to help. A strange pull that he could not ignore. He knew the battlefield could be deadly, and one wrong move might cost his life. Yet he stepped closer, moving cautiously. Suddenly, a loud growl broke the silence. Kale froze. His eyes darted to the shadow beside the alien warrior. A strange creature, tall and armored, moved toward her. Its claws glinting in the firelight. Kale did not think. He ran forward, grabbing the alien fighter and pulling her out of the way. The creature hissed and lunged. But Kale swung his blade, cutting the air just as it attacked. The sound of metal against flesh echoed, and the creature recoiled, giving them a few precious seconds. Kale looked down at the alien warrior. She was breathing hard, her chest rising and falling. Her tail twitched nervously, showing she was ready to strike at anyone who came close. Kale spoke softly, though he doubted she understood him. "Stay still, I won't hurt you," he said. She only growled, and her eyes burned with mistrust. He knew he had little time. Enemy drones could appear at any moment, and the terrain was unstable. Fires burned around them, and falling debris made the ground dangerous. Kale lifted her carefully, feeling her weight heavier than he expected. She stiffened, resisting, but he held her firm. Supporting her body as he moved, the wind blew ashes into their faces, making breathing hard as he ran across the battlefield. Kale could see the full extent of the destruction. Ships were broken like toys. Metal twisted in unnatural shapes. Some bodies, alien and human, lay abandoned, reminding him of how cruel this war had been. The alien fighter clutched his arm, not with gratitude, but suspicion. Her growl was quiet now, but her glare never left him. Kale felt a strange bond forming, built not on words, but on shared struggle and survival. They reached a ridge that looked over a deep ravine. Below, a river of molten metal glowed dangerously. He could not see a safe path down, but they had no choice. The alien fighter tried to get up, but her injuries slowed her. She stumbled, almost falling into the burning river. Kale caught her in time, holding her tight against his chest. "You'll be okay, I promise," he said, though she did not respond. Her tail curled slightly around him, almost as if she was acknowledging his help. A distant explosion shook the ground, sending rocks tumbling down. Kale tightened his grip. Carrying her quickly, his heart pounded. Every nerve alert. He could not fail her. Not now, not after coming this far. The alien warrior's breathing was uneven, pain flashing across her face. Kale whispered encouragements, trying to keep both of them moving. He could feel her tension, her distrust, but also a tiny flicker of hope as they disappeared behind a jagged rock outcrop. The viewer could feel the suspense. The battlefield seemed endless, filled with unseen dangers. Yet, Kale had made a choice. He had saved a life that no one else would, and for the first time, the alien fighter looked at him with something more than defiance, something that hinted at respect, curiosity, maybe even trust. The sun began to set, painting the sky red with fire and smoke. Shadows grew long, hiding threats in every corner. Kale knew the night would be more dangerous, but he also knew that leaving her behind was not an option. The fallen warrior had survived this long, and with him, she might just survive longer. The camera of imagination leaves them at the ridge. The alien fighter resting briefly against the human, her eyes watching him carefully. The battlefield silent, yet alive with danger. The first part ends, leaving the audience anxious, wondering what comes next. Will they survive the night? Will the alien trust the human fully? The story had just begun. Kale glanced down at the alien warrior resting in his arms. Her breathing shallow but steady. The battlefield behind them glowed with dying fires. While shadows crept forward with every step of the night, he knew they could not stay. Drones and wild predators would find them soon. He scanned the terrain ahead, spotting jagged rocks, burned-out ships, and deep craters. Each step was dangerous, but he had no choice. The alien warrior stirred, her eyes opening slowly. She focused on Kale, a mixture of anger and confusion in her gaze. She did not speak, but her tail flicked irritably, brushing against him as if warning him not to get too comfortable. Kale gritted his teeth, holding her closer. "I won't let anything happen to you," he whispered, though he was not sure if she understood. Her eyes narrowed, testing him silently. As they moved forward, the ground trembled beneath them. A distant explosion sent smoke and debris into the air. Forcing Kale to dive behind a broken ship, the alien warrior tensed. Gripping his arm with surprising strength, she growled softly, a warning to anything nearby. Kale could sense her instinct for survival, honed through countless battles. Yet, for the first time, she allowed herself to lean on him, even if just slightly. The river ahead was their only path to safety, but it roared like a living beast. Molten water flowed with heat that could melt armor, and jagged rocks jutted out dangerously. Kale's mind raced as he searched for a way across. T's eyes landed on broken alien debris, pieces of ship hull and twisted metal. Perhaps he could make a makeshift raft. He dropped the alien warrior carefully onto a safer patch of ground, her eyes following every movement with suspicion. Kale worked quickly, using his strength and knowledge to piece together a raft strong enough to hold both of them. Sparks flew as he twisted metal, and the alien warrior watched silently, her breathing heavy, but her eyes scanning the battlefield constantly. Finally, the raft was ready, rocking precariously on the river's edge. Kale helped her climb aboard. She hesitated, her tail lashing nervously, but he kept his voice calm. "It's the only way," he said. The river surged suddenly, waves of molten water crashing against their makeshift raft. Kale gripped the alien warrior, holding her steady. She flinched at the heat, but did not pull away, her body tense, ready for anything. Suddenly, a massive predator emerged from the shadows, its eyes glowing, claws reaching for them. Kale's heart pounded, but he did not hesitate. He pushed the alien warrior behind him, swinging a heavy piece of metal, striking the creature with precision. The predator roared, recoiling into the river. Kale grabbed an oar and pushed against the current, steering them quickly. The alien warrior clung to him, her growl quieting, replaced with something that almost felt like awe. They moved faster than the river wanted, dodging molten splashes and jagged rocks. Kale's muscles burned, his arms shaking with effort. But he did not let go. He refused to let the night claim them. Halfway across, the alien warrior's tail brushed his shoulder. Almost unintentionally, Kale caught the motion. Understanding her silent acknowledgement, she was beginning to trust him. Though she would not admit it, her eyes met his, fierce and proud. Yet a spark of gratitude flickered within. They reached the far side, tumbling onto solid ground. Kale held her as they fell, the heat of the river still on their skin. Around them, the battlefield seemed quieter. But Kale knew better. Shadows shifted among the rocks, and distant cries reminded him that danger was never far. The alien warrior sat up slowly, inspecting him with sharp eyes. She did not speak, but the tension in her posture had softened. A small nod, almost imperceptible, was her way of saying she had survived because of him. Kale allowed himself a brief smile, knowing the journey was far from over. Suddenly, a faint humming reached their ears. Alien technology reactivating in the distance. Kale's instinct screamed at him, "Move!" He helped the alien warrior to her feet, and together they ran toward an abandoned alien outpost. The last chance for safety before the night swallowed them. Each step was heavier than the last, their bodies tired. Yet the determination to survive pushed them forward. The alien warrior finally spoke, her voice low and broken. "Why? Why do you help me?" Kale did not have time for a long answer, but he said what he felt, because no one else will. He replied. His words were simple, but filled with meaning. She stared at him, processing. And for a moment, Kale thought he saw a flicker of trust, perhaps even respect. Behind them, the battlefield was alive with danger, and ahead, the unknown awaited. But for now, they had survived together. The human had saved the fallen warrior, and in doing so, a bond had begun. The night was far from over, yet Kale knew one truth: he would not abandon her, no matter the cost. The river had been crossed, but the war was not finished. The human and alien warrior moved forward, side by side, ready to face the next challenge. The audience is left at the edge of their seats, wondering what threats awaited in the darkness, and whether trust between two very different beings could survive the horrors to come. The river roared like a beast, molten and alive. Its currents moved with fury, carrying smoke and fire debris downstream. Kale and the alien warrior stood at the edge, watching the waves crash over jagged rocks. He tightened his grip on his weapons, scanning for predators. The alien warrior, though injured, kept her stance strong, her tail flicking nervously as she studied the river. "Stay close," Kale warned, his voice low but firm. The alien warrior nodded, though her expression showed both doubt and determination. She had survived countless battles, yet this river seemed impossible. The current shimmered with molten light, and sharp stones cut through anything that touched the surface. One false step, and they could both be lost. Kale searched for a crossing point, his eyes catching on broken alien hulls and debris scattered across the riverbank. Perhaps he could make a raft strong enough to carry both of them. He knelt, working quickly, twisting metal beams together. Improvising with wires and alien tech remnants, sparks flew, but he did not flinch. Every second counted, and he could feel the alien warrior watching him, judging his every move. She shifted uncomfortably, her tail brushing against Kale's arm. A small warning, or perhaps curiosity. He met her eyes, offering a small nod. "Trust me," he said. Though she did not speak, the tension in her body eased slightly. Her growl faded into a low hum, a sound he did not understand, but felt like acceptance. The makeshift raft was ready, rocking dangerously on the edge. Kale helped the alien warrior onto it first, steadying her as she climbed. Her claws dug into the metal slightly, a reminder that she still trusted only herself. He followed carefully, and together they balanced, ready to face the deadly current. The river surged as if it sensed their presence, waves splashing molten water over the edges. Kale gritted his teeth, paddling with all his strength. The alien warrior held on tightly, her tail wrapping partly around him, a strange gesture of connection. Suddenly, a shadow moved beneath the water, a massive predator stirring. Its eyes glowed red, and its jaws opened wide, ready to strike. Kale's instinct screamed, "Hold steady." He thrust the oar forward, striking the predator's snout just as it lunged. The creature hissed, retreating temporarily, but the danger was far from over. The alien warrior's growl joined his, a fierce sound that showed she was still alive, still fighting. Her eyes met his, and for a brief moment, they understood each other without words. The raft rocked violently. Molten waves slamming against the sides, Kale gritted his teeth, steering with precision. Dodging sharp rocks and floating debris, the alien warrior's strength surprised him. She shifted her weight, balancing the raft expertly, and even helped push the predator away with her claws. A teamwork he did not expect but welcomed. Halfway across, the raft hit a large rock. Tipping dangerously, Kale grabbed the alien warrior, pulling her close as they almost plunged into the molten water. Her tail wrapped fully around him now, as if anchoring herself to his presence. He felt her heart beat against his chest, fast and fierce, survival and trust mixing in a silent rhythm. They managed to free the raft and continue downstream. The alien warrior whispered, finally, You are brave," her voice rough, strained, but carrying a note of respect. Kale only nodded, too focused on the river to reply. Every second was a fight against death, and words felt small compared to the danger surrounding them. A sudden explosion from a nearby cliff sent debris flying toward them. Kale shielded her with his body, sparks raining around. She hissed at the blast, but did not pull away, her trust growing with every second of his protection. The river seemed endless, but they kept moving, paddling through the chaos, muscles burning, adrenaline sharp in their veins. Finally, they reached a calmer section, the molten water slowing, jagged rocks giving way to a safer shore. Kale helped the alien warrior step onto solid ground, both of them exhausted, covered in sweat and ash. The alien warrior stumbled slightly, but Kale caught her. Holding her steady, she looked at him, eyes wide, a mix of surprise and something like admiration. Behind them, the river continued to rage, claiming the battlefield and the fallen. But they had survived, together, against impossible odds. The alien warrior finally spoke again, voice low but firm. "You saved me." She did not sound grateful. Not exactly, but it was recognition. A bond forming silently between human and alien, survivor and warrior. Kale looked around. Okay. The night still alive with hidden dangers, but for the first time, he felt a flicker of hope. They had crossed the river of death, and though the journey was far from over, they had proven they could survive together. The audience is left breathless, wondering what new challenges the darkness will bring, and whether the trust between these two unlikely allies will hold against the coming storm. Kale and the alien warrior finally reached a small plateau, overlooking the battlefield and the raging river they had survived. The firelight from burning ships cast long shadows, making every shape look dangerous. Kale dropped to his knees, breathing heavily, feeling the weight of the night on his shoulders. The alien warrior sat nearby, her eyes scanning the horizon, alert as ever. Yet there was a strange calm in her stance. For the first time, Kale studied her closely, noticing the deep cuts on her armor, the fatigue in her posture, the faint tremble of her tail. She was a fighter, proud and strong, but even the strongest could fall. And he realized he had saved more than a life. He had saved her pride, though she would never admit it. The silence between them was heavy, yet not uncomfortable, filled with unspoken understanding. "You could have left me," she finally said, voice low, almost a growl, her eyes sharp and calculating, fixed on him. Searching for an answer, Kale shook his head, keeping his tone steady. "No, I can't leave anyone behind," he said. Simple words, but carrying everything he felt. The alien warrior's eyes softened slightly. A flicker of something unspoken passing between them. A distant howl reminded them the night was far from safe. Predators moved in the shadows. Drones patrolled the ruined battlefield. Yet in this brief pause, something shifted. Kale noticed her tail uncurl slightly from around him, and her posture relaxed, a subtle gesture of trust. He had never seen an alien fighter behave like this, vulnerable yet alert. It gave him hope. And a strange warmth spread through him. Kale spoke quietly, keeping his eyes on her. "We need to keep moving, but I promise. I will watch your back." She tilted her head, studying him, weighing his words. Her claws dug lightly into the ground, a test of patience, of trust. Kale met her gaze steadily, showing no fear, no hesitation, just a promise that she could believe. Finally, she nodded once, faintly, a silent agreement to follow him. They began moving carefully, side by side, across the plateau. Every step deliberate. Kale led, the alien warrior following, yet scanning constantly, her senses sharper than his, noticing every slight movement, sound, or shadow. She pointed with a claw toward a distant structure, partially hidden in smoke. "Perhaps a shelter," Kale nodded. "Understanding her gesture, we'll reach that place before dawn," he said, his voice calm. As they walked, Kale noticed small signs of her vulnerability. The way she limped slightly over broken rocks, the way her tail twitched with every sudden sound. She was strong, but even warriors had limits. He adjusted his pace, making sure she could keep up, offering silent reassurance through his presence. Not words, the alien warrior began to rely on him. Not fully, but enough to survive together. Suddenly, a sharp noise echoed behind them. A metallic clang. Kale spun around, weapons ready. The alien warrior's tail lashed instinctively, warning of danger, out of the shadows. A group of smaller predators approached, fast and agile. Kale's heart raced, but he did not hesitate. He moved in front of her, swinging his weapon with precision. Striking one down, another lunge, and she met it with her own strength. Claws flashing, they fought together, moving as a unit for the first time, instinct guiding them. The alien warrior's eyes met his in a brief moment, a silent acknowledgement, "We survived together." The look said. Kale nodded once, feeling a bond forming stronger than any words. The predators eventually retreated, leaving them shaken. But alive, the alien warrior exhaled, a sound softer than a growl, almost a sigh, showing relief. They continued their journey toward the distant shelter, the plateau giving way to a safer path. The alien warrior walked closer to Kale now, her tail occasionally brushing his arm. Subtle signs of growing trust. They did not speak much. But the silence was comfortable, filled with the rhythm of survival. Kale felt a strange pride, not for himself, but for earning her trust, something that would have been impossible at the start of the night. As dawn began to break, the first light painting the sky in red and gold. They reached the shelter, a ruined building that offered minimal safety but enough to rest. Kale helped the alien warrior inside, lowering her gently. Her tail coiled lightly around him again, a gesture of acknowledgement, trust beginning to form into something unspoken but real. She looked at him with sharp eyes. But there was no hostility now, only cautious respect. Kale settled nearby, keeping watch. His body tense, even as exhaustion threatened to overwhelm him. The alien warrior leaned back, breathing slowly, watching him, and for the first time, Kale felt a flicker of connection, fragile but undeniable. Two very different beings, bound by survival and courage, had found a moment of peace together. The audience is left with suspense, wondering if this fragile trust can survive the dangers still ahead, and what secrets the alien warrior hides in her proud heart. Kale and the alien warrior had barely settled in the ruined shelter when a strange silence fell over the surrounding forest. The distant sounds of the battlefield had faded, replaced by an eerie stillness. Kale's senses were alert, every muscle ready, and the alien warrior mirrored him, her tail flicking, claws digging lightly into the broken ground. She did not speak, but her eyes darted, sharp and calculating. Kale whispered, "Something is not right," and she nodded, her ears tilting toward a faint noise, a subtle rustling, too deliberate to be the wind. Kale gripped his weapon tighter. The alien warrior crouched beside him, muscles tense, ready to strike at a moment's notice. The calm they had found was fragile, easily shattered, yet they had no choice but to face whatever came. The shadows shifted, shapes moving silently. Among the broken trees, Kale felt the presence of watchers, enemies unseen, their movements precise, almost intelligent. This was not a mindless attack, but a calculated trap. The alien warrior growled softly, her voice low and dangerous, alerting Kale to the danger. He understood her warning. "Stay close," he whispered, and she moved. Coiling her tail around him slightly, a gesture of trust, suddenly. A series of rapid clicks echoed through the air, a sound alien and mechanical. Kale's eyes widened, recognizing the signal from the battlefield. Drones, small but lethal, were approaching, ready to ambush them. The alien warrior tensed, claws scratching the shelter floor, her tail lashing. She hissed a low warning, and Kale ducked behind a fallen beam, shielding himself as the first drone skidded into the clearing. Kale struck first, swinging a metal pipe, destroying one drone instantly. Sparks flew, and the alien warrior leaped into action, claws slashing through another. Her movements were precise, trained, deadly. Yet she glanced at Kale occasionally, ensuring he was safe. Together, they fought in silence. A dangerous dance between human and alien. Each enemy that fell brought a temporary calm, but the threat remained, hidden and relentless. The drones were clever. Flanking them, cutting off escape routes, Kale realized they could not stay in the shelter. It was a trap designed to kill or capture, and he needed a plan. The alien warrior spoke, voice low but commanding. "We move." Her words were few, but filled with authority. Kale nodded. Understanding her instinct, they would leave now, while the drones were distracted. Kale grabbed a piece of broken metal, throwing it toward a distant corner, creating noise to distract the drones. The alien warrior used the moment, leaping over rubble and debris, her tail whipping through the air. Knocking one drone off balance, Kale ran beside her, guiding her toward a hidden path he had noticed earlier. The forest swallowed them quickly, shadows hiding their movements, yet danger followed. The hidden path led to a rocky canyon, narrow and treacherous. Kale and the alien warrior moved carefully, aware that the drones could follow. The air was thick with smoke, heat from the battlefield still lingering. Their bodies were exhausted, muscles screaming, yet adrenaline pushed them forward. The alien warrior glanced at Kale, her eyes sharp, a silent question in her gaze. "Can we survive this?" he thought, and his grip on her arm tightened, signaling yes. Suddenly, a trap activated. Wires hidden in the rocks, sending a sharp electric pulse across the path. Kale dived, pulling the alien warrior down just in time. Sparks flew as the wire ignited, and both landed hard on the rocky ground. Hearts pounding, breaths shallow. Kale looked at her, expecting anger or frustration. But instead, she gave a small nod. Trust and respect mingled in her fierce eyes. They continued, the canyon narrowing, the drones still pursuing. Kale's mind raced, searching for a way to turn the situation to their advantage. The alien warrior moved beside him, silent but aware, her instincts guiding them both. Finally, they reached a cliffside, overlooking a small alien ruin. Partially hidden, Kale pointed. "We can hide there," he said. And she understood immediately. They climbed. Carefully, hearts racing. Shadows flickering below. The drones were relentless. But the ruin offered cover. Walls of broken stone and alien tech shielding them from view. Kale and the alien warrior paused, catching their breath. Their eyes met. And in that moment, the human and the alien warrior understood the bond that had grown between them. Forged in danger, in survival, in trust. But even as they rested, Kale knew the hidden threat was not gone. The drones had not given up. Predators lurked in the shadows, and the battlefield's horrors were far from finished. The alien warrior leaned slightly closer, a small gesture of connection. Her tail brushing his arm lightly. Trust given, fragile but real, together. They had survived again, and together they would face whatever darkness lay ahead. The alien ruin offered shelter, but the night was far from safe. Kale and the alien warrior crouched behind crumbling walls, listening, every sense alert. The wind whispered through broken stones, carrying faint noises, rustles that hinted at movement. Kale's hands gripped his weapon tightly, muscles tense. And the alien warrior's tail lashed nervously, a sign of unease. "Something is wrong," she murmured. Her voice low, rough, carrying a warning. Kale nodded, scanning the dark canyon below. Shadows moving strangely. Not all enemies had been destroyed, not all threats visible. His instincts screamed that danger was closer than they thought. He motioned for her to stay quiet, and they moved deeper into the ruin. Steps slow, careful. A faint light flickered across the floor, shadows twisting unnaturally. Kale noticed a figure emerging from the darkness. Human in form but cloaked, moving quickly and silently. His heart sank. A bad feeling settling deep in his chest. The alien warrior growled softly. Sensing the betrayal before he could, "They know we are here," she said, eyes narrowing, ready to strike. The figure stepped into the open, revealing a familiar face. Another human from Kale's own faction, but the expression was cold, eyes calculating. Weapon raised, not an ally, but a traitor. Kale's stomach twisted, betrayal burning like fire. "Why?" he whispered, almost to himself. The alien warrior tensed beside him, her claws scratching the ground, ready to defend. The traitor smirked. Weapon trained on them. "You're weak, Kale," he said, voice mocking, "and this alien fighter. She belongs to me now." Every word dripped with malice, and Kale felt the weight of the moment. He realized they had been hunted, not just by enemies, but by someone who knew them, knew their movements. The alien warrior's tail lashed aggressively. Growl vibrating through the ruin, Kale stepped forward, positioning himself between the traitor and the alien warrior. "You will not touch her," he said, voice steady. Though his heart pounded, the traitor laughed. "I already have," and fired a pulse weapon toward them. The shot narrowly missed, scorching the ground between them. Sparks flew, and the air hummed with tension. The alien warrior reacted instantly, leaping with incredible speed, claws slashing toward the traitor. Kale moved at the same time, striking with his weapon. A clash of steel and energy filled the ruin. Sparks scattering, both sides skilled, but Kale and the alien warrior fought as one, moving in sync, instincts guiding them. The traitor underestimated their bond, their ability to trust each other. Suddenly, the alien warrior's tail wrapped around Kale's waist, yanking him out of the line of another shot. Her eyes met his, filled with determination and a hint of trust. They would survive this together, Kale realized, adrenaline sharpening. His focus, every strike he made, was precise, calculated, protecting her as much as attacking. The traitor's confidence faltered as they adapted to the unexpected teamwork. Kale noticed a loose beam above the traitor's head, an idea forming quickly. "Watch the ceiling," he whispered, and the alien warrior understood instantly. Her tail whipped upward, knocking the beam free just as the traitor lunged. It fell with a thunderous crash, pinning the enemy partially under rubble. The air was filled with dust, sparks, and the muffled growl of the trapped traitor. Kale and the alien warrior did not relax, knowing the danger was not fully gone. They moved swiftly through the ruin, using shadows and walls for cover, each step careful, calculated, avoiding traps and potential reinforcements. The alien warrior stayed close, her tail brushing his arm occasionally. Subtle signs of trust growing stronger after every shared danger. Finally, they reached a narrow exit leading to a hidden path in the canyon. The traitor's voice called out, desperate and furious, but the ruin blocked most of the sound. Kale and the alien warrior pressed on, hearts racing, bodies tense. Yet there was relief in their survival, a momentary victory over betrayal and shadows. Kale looked at her, noticing the slight nod she gave, a silent acknowledgement. Trust hard-earned through danger. She did not speak, but the gesture meant more than words. They had survived the hidden threat and betrayal together, stronger for it, yet the canyon and night still held dangers, unknown and waiting. The audience is left on edge, wondering if they can fully escape. And what other enemies lurk in the darkness, ready to strike? The hidden path led Kale and the alien warrior to the edge of the canyon. Moonlight spilling over jagged rocks. The air was cold, carrying the scent of smoke and metal. The night had grown darker, shadows stretching like claws. And Kale knew this was the last challenge. Their bodies ached, every muscle screaming. But retreat was not an option. They had survived betrayal, ambush, and the battlefield. Yet the final threat loomed closer. Kale crouched behind a boulder, scanning the horizon, eyes sharp. Every movement was deliberate. Every sound could be a warning. The alien warrior crouched beside him, tail coiled tightly, ready to strike at the first sign of danger. Her eyes glimmered in the moonlight, fierce and unwavering. Yet there was a glimmer of exhaustion. Kale reached out, placing a hand lightly on her shoulder, silent promise that he would not let her face this alone. A low rumble echoed through the canyon, the ground vibrating beneath them. Kale's heart raced, sensing the size and power of the approaching enemy. It was not small drones or traitors now, but a massive war machine, ancient and brutal. Its sensors scanning, weapons primed. The alien warrior growled, claws scraping the rocks, tail twitching like a whip. She had never faced something like this, and Kale could feel her tension. "Stay close," he whispered, and she nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. They stepped out from cover, moving as one. The ruined canyon providing little advantage now. The war machine's sensors locked onto them. Red lights cutting through the night like daggers. Kale's pulse quickened, knowing every second counted. Every misstep could be their end. The alien warrior leaped first, striking with claws that could pierce armor. Kale followed, swinging his weapon with precision. Every strike aimed to weaken, distract, survive. Sparks flew as metal met metal, energy beams slicing dangerously close. The war machine was relentless, calculating. But they fought with something it could not understand: human courage and alien instinct combined. Kale shouted, "On my mark, roll left." And the alien warrior reacted instantly, tail whipping the enemy's sensors. Blinding it briefly, they moved with purpose, dodging and countering. Survival their only goal. Each strike and parry strengthening the bond between them, their breathing. Heavy hearts pounding, they fought not just for themselves, but for the trust they had built. The canyon shook as the war machine activated a secondary weapon, a pulse that threw rocks and debris. Kale dove, pulling the alien warrior down with him. Dust and sparks filled the air, eyes stinging, hearts racing. Yet neither hesitated, neither backed down. They were alive, together, And that bond was stronger. Then fear. Cale noticed a weak point, a panel glowing red near the machine's core. There. He shouted, and the alien warrior understood immediately, with incredible speed. She jumped onto the machine, claws digging into its armor. Cale swung, striking the panel with all his strength. Sparks erupted, wires sizzled, and the war machine staggered, slowed, vulnerable, seizing the moment. Cale and the alien warrior attacked as one, every strike precise, coordinated. Finally forcing the massive machine to collapse, metal groaning, smoke rising. The canyon fell silent. Only their ragged breaths breaking the quiet they had done. It survived the impossible. Cale sank to the ground. Exhausted, muscles trembling, and the alien warrior leaned beside him, her tail brushing gently, a gesture of trust and respect. Neither spoke immediately. The silence filled with relief, shared triumph, and unspoken understanding. They had faced the battlefield, betrayal, and impossible odds together, and survived. As the first light of dawn broke over the canyon, painting the sky in red and gold, Cale looked at her, seeing not just a warrior, but a companion, a friend, someone who had trusted him with her life. She returned the gaze, eyes sharp but calm. And for the first time, Cale felt a connection. Deeper than survival, something fragile but undeniable. The alien warrior finally spoke, voice low, almost soft. "We survive," she smiled faintly, a rare expression. Trust and relief mingled in her eyes. Cale nodded, feeling the weight of the night lift slightly. They had endured together, grown together, and in the face of impossible odds, they had proven something greater than strength or skill, trust, courage, and the bond of survival. Cale reached out, hand brushing her arm, the gesture small but powerful, a promise that whatever came next, they would face it together. The canyon was quiet. Now the danger receded. Yet the memory of the night's trials lingered, a reminder of their shared journey. The audience is left with a sense of awe, relief, and wonder, knowing that the human and the alien warrior had forged a bond through courage, trust, and survival.